Evening, I'd like to take you all to Paris. It is a beautiful Tuesday evening in May. I'm 41 years old and I'm in Paris on tour performing. A friend invites me to a picnic on the Seine where we share baguettes and brie and bottles of wine. And that's when I see him. He's tall and lean, with an impish grin and a spark in his eyes that says to me, fun and maybe some adventure. So I extend a bottle of wine to him and he scoots closer. There is instant attraction. His name, Pietro. The conversation flows as easily as the wine, and he invites me to accompany him to see his favorite gypsy brass band at a pub nearby. And I say, sure. Oh, the band is amazing and they have the most fantastic costumes. And one thing sort of leads to another and we end up back at Pietro's apartment. There are tender kisses on fingertips and an olive oil massage, which was oddly delightful. There are more kisses and phone numbers exchanged and a very late night bus ride back to the apartment where I'm staying. Pietro's busy Tuesday or Wednesday and Thursday, and then I receive a text message from him on Friday. Would I like to join him for electro tango dancing in an abandoned factory building? Yes, please. That sounds like adventure. We meet at the metro and Pietro walks me to the factory. And out of curiosity, I ask, I'm curious, I'm wondering, are you seeing anyone else? And Pietro is very straightforward. Yeah, actually, a few other women. A few other women. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this, although I remind myself I'm only in Paris for 10 days and we did have such a great time the other night, and at least he's being honest with me. I'll go tango dancing anyway. We tango in that factory building. It is a magical time. We tango back at his apartment another late night. It's the next day, Saturday afternoon, and another text from Pietro. Pasta party at my apartment, 4 p.m., just bring you. I text back immediately, I'll be there. 4:30 p.m. I arrive. Because I learned in Paris that when someone tells you 4 p.m., it does not mean 4 p.m. And if you show up at 4, it's actually quite rude. Being late was very hard for me. I ring the buzzer on his apartment building and hear his voice, come on up, the door's open. I walk the 3 flights and there's Pietro at the stove stirring this huge pot of sauce. We kiss hello when he says, come on in, grab yourself a drink, go mingle, go mingle. And that's when I turn and look in the living room. It's been transformed. The couch pushed up against one of the walls, and there's these small tables with red and white checkered tablecloths and a lump of dough in the middle of each table. And there are several other guests, all women. I go and I grab a glass of wine and I begin to mingle and introduce myself. Hi, my name is Kristen, and you are? And they share their names, and I guess my American accent gave me away. They said, so what brings you to Paris? Oh, I'm here on tour. I'm performing. How about you? What brings you to Paris? One of the women was just completing a graduate degree in chemistry. Another one worked with Pietro in a computer lab. Another was a fashion designer. These women were interesting. And more guests continue to arrive. 12 guests, all women. And Pietro's still at the stove stirring the sauce, and then he clangs a spoon on a glass of wine and he says, welcome, welcome everyone, please gather round. It's time for the pasta making lesson. And he approaches one of the larger tables, gathers us close, and then he pinches off a piece of the dough, rolls it between his hands, and he twirls it, and it's a cavatappi twisted noodle. He makes it look so easy. That impish grin, he says, so who wants to try? And nearly all of us reach over, pinch a piece of that dough, roll it between our hands, twist, Mine flies right out of my hands across the table, and I giggle, and Pietro laughs and says, "That was so close. You want to try again?" Pinch off another piece of dough, roll it between my hands, twist. I've got the hang of it. And we women, we continue pinching off pieces of dough, rolling, creating those noodles, and soon a pile grows on that table. Pietro makes his way back to that stove to stir that sauce. He takes a taste, adds a few herbs, and our conversation, we women, it continues. And then the conversation takes a twist. One of the women says, "So, how did you meet Pietro?" And one of the other women says, "Oh, Pietro took me to see this amazing gypsy brass band at this pub last Wednesday." I was like, "Oh, I think that's the same band I saw with him on Tuesday." And another woman says, "Oh, we go tango dancing on the Seine every Thursday." And I'm thinking, tango? Me too. And eventually the question circles back to me. I met Pietro at a picnic on the Seine, and we shared wine, and oh, he had the most delicious limoncello. And one of the other women chimes in and completes my sentence. "Yeah, limoncello from his Nana in Naples." Yeah, that's it. Pausing for a moment. Do you think we're all seeing Pietro? Speaking of Pietro, he clangs that spoon on the glass. Ladies, I am so glad you are all here. I thought it would be a great idea to invite all of my lovers to meet. I thought if I enjoyed your company, you would for sure enjoy each other's company. And now, as you might imagine, there were varying responses to this piece of information. There were those of us who had sort of figured it out, and we nodded knowingly at each other. And then there was sort of some surprise and a bit of shock and some indignation and some outright anger. This one woman, gorgeous, regal bearing, she had on a fitted, tailored suit, her hair up in a French twist. Though I'm wondering if in Paris, they just call it a twist. Well, she strode right up to Pietro, not a word, drew back her hand, and hearkening to French duels, slapped him across the face and stormed out the door. Another woman had plenty of words for Pietro, and she too stormed out the door, and two more followed suit. And I glanced around the room at the other women's expression, and then I sussed out, what were my own feelings about this? I mean, should I feel indignation? What might it say about me if I don't feel indignation? What if I kind of feel a little bit okay about this? I mean, he was honest. He did say he was seeing a few other women. True, I think we might have a different idea of what a few means. And then I'm thinking about his calendar. How in the world does he schedule all of us? And I'm picturing this very complex color-coded calendar and thinking he's got some incredible logistical skills. And he's right. I am enjoying these women. The conversation's delightful. They're fascinating. Well, Pietro, once again, clang, clang, clang on the glass. The 8 of us who remain are called to gather around while Pietro passes around the pasta. He dishes out the noodles, ladles over the sauce, and then Pietro being Pietro, he grates Parmesan cheese, probably from his Nana in Naples. It is so delicious. And there's cannoli brought back from a trip to Sicily. And the few of us that remain, we continue talking, we help clean up. And as everything's winding down, I turn to 2 other women and I say, this has been so delightful getting to know you. Would you like to continue the conversation? I saw a pub just down the street. And they both agree. So we 3 bid adieu to Pietro and we go to the pub and I buy the first round. And that's when we really start comparing notes. Oh, did Pietro do that thing where he has you close your eyes and then he very gently lifts up your hand and then barely touching you, he kisses each one of your fingertips? Oh my God, wasn't that amazing? Oh, yeah. Oh, did he give you the olive oil massage treatment? strangely satisfying, wasn't it? And we are giggling and guffawing as we're sharing notes. How do you think he kept the schedule straight? I raised my hand. Tuesday, some Fridays. Wednesday? Thursday raises her hand. And I figure maybe I'm okay with this. It's Paris. And I gotta tell you, I was really looking forward to Tuesday. Oh, that is delightful. Oh my goodness.